I still don't have a good explanation for what happened that night. It was one of those experiences that latches onto you and refuses to fade, no matter how much time passes. I was heading home after a long shift at the bar. It was late, well past midnight, and the roads out here are nothing but empty backwoods, the kind where you can drive 20 minutes without seeing another set of headlights. I didn't mind it most nights. The quiet gave me space to think. But that night, there was something different in the air. A heavy mist had settled over the countryside, thicker than I'd ever seen before. The beams of my headlights stretched only a few feet ahead before dissolving into white. The trees on either side of the road looked warped, twisted by the fog into shapes that didn't quite feel right. I kept my eyes locked on the road, trying not to think too much about how unnatural it felt. That's when I noticed something strange. Off to my left, barely visible through the haze, was a faint blue glow. At first, I thought it might have been someone's porch light or maybe a reflector, but as I drove, the glow seemed to drift along with me. Every curve I made, it mirrored, never getting closer, never falling behind, just floating, always there, keeping pace. The longer I watched it, the more unsettled I became. It wasn't blinking like a normal light. It pulsed like it was breathing. I told myself it was probably some weird trick of the fog and forced myself to focus on the asphalt. But no matter how hard I tried, my eyes kept flicking back to it. Finally, I slowed down, hoping the glow would slip ahead or fall away. Instead, it brightened. A dull hum began to fill the car, low at first, then louder, vibrating in the steering wheel beneath my hands. My chest felt tight, like the air had thickened. I wanted to pull over, but before I could, the radio clicked on all by itself. White noise hissed through the speakers, then cut to a garbled voice. Low, broken, whispering words I couldn't understand. My stomach dropped. I reached for the knob to shut it off, but it wouldn't budge. The glow outside flared, washing over the fog until it filled my entire windshield. For a second, it was like I was underwater, everything drowned in that unnatural blue. My headlights, the dashboard, even my hands gripping the wheel, everything was swallowed by the light. Then, silence, darkness. The glow vanished as if it had never been there. The radio shut off. The hum was gone. I was sitting in the middle of the road, heart hammering in my chest, the only sound my own shaky breathing. I don't know how long I sat there before I forced myself to drive the rest of the way home. But I'll never forget that glow, because when I checked my phone later that night, the time didn't add up. What should have been a 30-minute drive had taken me nearly 2 hours. And to this day, I still don't know where that missing time went. I've been driving long haul for years now, and I've seen a lot of strange things on the road. But there's one night that still keeps me awake when I think about it. I was hauling a load across a desolate stretch of desert highway, the kind of road where you can drive for an hour without passing another car. No towns, no gas stations, just endless blacktop under a sky of stars. It was late, close to 2 in the morning, and I was already running on fumes, telling myself to just push through until sunrise. That's when I noticed something unusual in my side mirror, a pair of headlights in the distance. At first, I didn't think much of it. Plenty of drivers travel at night, but as the miles ticked by, I realized those lights weren't passing, and they weren't falling back either. Whoever it was, they were matching my speed perfectly. The longer it went on, the more it set me on edge. Every time I switched lanes or adjusted my pace, the car behind me did the exact same thing. It wasn't tailgating, but it never let me out of sight, just hovering back there, steady, patient. Finally, I decided to test them. I slowed down, pulling onto the shoulder like I was going to stop. The headlights slowed too, rolling to a crawl in the middle of the highway. For a few seconds, we just sat there, engines idling in the emptiness. Then, without warning, the other vehicle cut its lights completely. I sat frozen, staring into the black void of the mirror where those headlights had been. The desert around me felt suffocatingly silent. After what felt like an eternity, I shifted back onto the road and pushed the rig as fast as I safely could. For a while, I thought maybe I'd shaken them. Nothing but empty road behind me. But then, out of nowhere, I caught a glimpse of movement in my mirrors. No headlights this time, just the faint silhouette of a vehicle gliding silently in the dark. No lights, no sound, but definitely there. My hands were slick with sweat on the wheel. I told myself it had to be my imagination, the fatigue playing tricks on me. But as the highway curved, I saw it again. A dark SUV, coasting along the opposite lane without its lights, keeping perfect pace. I tried to ignore it. I told myself, just get to the next truck stop, get around people, and it'll be fine. But when I finally rolled into the next lit rest area and pulled into a space, I realized something that made my stomach drop. Every single spotlight in that lot, every bulb that should have been glowing, was dead. The entire place was pitch black, and at the far edge of the lot, barely visible in the moonlight, was that SUV, parked, waiting. I didn't stick around to find out who was inside. I locked my doors, floored it back onto the highway, and drove until the sun came up. To this day, I don't know what they wanted or how long they've been following me. But I'll tell you this, every time I check my mirrors now, I half expect to see those headlights again. I've always loved late-night drives. There's something about an empty road under a blanket of stars that makes you feel like the whole world belongs to you. No traffic, no distractions, just the hum of the engine and the glow of headlights cutting through the darkness. One summer night, I decided to take the back roads instead of the highway. I thought it would be fun, tighter turns, no cops, and the thrill of driving through quiet farmland. For a while, it was perfect. The air was warm, the road was smooth, and I was completely alone. At least, that's what I thought. I rounded a bend and slammed the brakes hard. Sitting dead center in the road was an old wooden chair. Not tipped over, not broken, just perfectly placed in the middle of the lane. My headlights washed over it, making it look eerie, almost staged. I slowed to a crawl, creeping past it. My first thought was maybe it had fallen from someone's truck bed, but then I noticed something that made my stomach sink. Behind the chair, a little further down, was a second object, an old, rusted tricycle. That's when it hit me. This wasn't random. Someone put them there on purpose. I sped up, deciding not to stop, but as soon as I passed the tricycle, I caught movement in my side mirror. Two figures darted out of the tall cornfield, running straight for my car. My heart nearly stopped. I floored it, tires squealing, the rear of my car fishtailing as I tore down the road. In the red glow of my taillights, I caught one of them chasing after me, sprinting at a speed that didn't even look human. His arms flailed unnaturally, his clothes were ragged, and his face. I'll never forget it. It was pale, smeared with something dark, and his mouth hung wide open like he was screaming, though no sound came out. He was fast, too fast. For a split second, I thought he was going to catch me. He reached out, fingertips nearly brushing the trunk of my car before finally dropping back into the darkness. I didn't let off the gas until I hit the highway again, and even then, I kept checking my mirrors every few seconds. There was nothing behind me. No headlights, no movement, just endless road. I made it home that night shaking, still not sure what exactly I had driven into. A setup? A prank? Or something far worse? All I know is, the next time I get the urge for a midnight drive, I'll be sticking to well-lit highways. Because out there, on those forgotten back roads, sometimes the darkness is waiting for you.